All right, guys. Back in 2016, Oz Fox did an interview with me, and I forgot about it. And here we are, almost 10 years later, and I'm gonna post it for you. Ready? Here we go. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't. Welcome, Mike Gross, Rockin Guitar Lessons 1 here at YouTube.
Yes.
But your life can truly be.
Hey everybody, here at Oz Academy, welcome, and we are hanging out right now with the one and only Mike Gross. Right on, brother.
He's
Show me
suspended
that
real
fist
quick.
again.
Suspended.
Okay, there you go. He's suspended.
Yeah. Sir Oz, always a pleasure to see you, man.
Bro, it's great to have you here. We're talking just about you and what you do. Now, I just got to kind of briefly tell everybody, I basically ran into Mike on YouTube, of all places. I think that's where I first heard about you, because I was playing some 80s metal stuff, and I was trying to learn it for the band Let It Rock. And some of the stuff I was still kind of stuck on, and so I went through, and all of a sudden I find this really cool Rockin lesson, just to kind of give me a perspective of how somebody would play it. And of course, it was one of Mike's lessons from YouTube. And
The Hunter, right?
yeah, I think it was the Hunter. Absolutely. Yeah. So I sat down with it and I figured it out, and I'm like, wow, this is really cool. So of course, when I went to play it with Let It Rock, I was playing it better than anybody. Well, I shouldn't say anybody, but playing it better than Stacy.
Right on.
And he was kind of showing me what he was doing. I'm all, I'm going to do this, you know. And he's like, oh, that's cool, you know.
Well, yeah, you know, Lynch, he'll use the thumb on some of those chords, you know, just the little subtleties he does, you know. It's awesome.
Yeah, and it's really cool. And I've gotten to know George over the years. We've gotten a chance to hang out a little bit, and got stuck on a bus. Actually got stuck in an airport in Michigan once, but it was
with Lynch.
With Lynch Mob. Yeah, that's where we first started hanging out, and it was Robbie Crane and Scott Coogan, Oni Logan was there.
That's the earlier days, right?
Yeah.
Because they had two singers. I always mix them up, but the first one was like rock solid, man.
Yeah. So it was a cool thing, and we were just hanging out. But anyway. Yeah, so I learned quite a few songs from your videos. And how long have you been doing those videos?
Okay, well, I started, I have to, I don't know the month, but it was 2012 when I first made the transition. By transition, I mean, you know, I've been teaching since 1992.
Wow.
The year my first daughter was born, so it was shortly after that I transitioned. You know, throughout Southern California, I've taught I've seen stores open, I've seen them close, I've seen them reopen, new ones pop up. Of course, you know, nowadays it's a different ballgame because, in part because of the internet, you know, and people like me doing what I'm doing on the internet. You know, it's I remember in the 90s, you know, teaching 6 days a week, 65, 70 students a week.
Wow.
And so yeah, I went from the old school, transitioning, because when the economy took a hit, when was that? It was the early 2000s, and then we also had that dive in 2008 or something.
Right.
But you know, it affected a lot of businesses. But we also had the internet, where people were starting to buy a majority of their stuff without leaving their home. So, you know, I saw my student load going slowly but surely, and you know, this is all I've known, Oz, for, you know, since I was at young 20s, you know, 22 years old. This is what I have known. Prior to that, you know, I did miscellaneous construction, hated it, was horrible at it. So it was a kind of time again to make a decision on what I'm going to do. I mean, I was being restricted to the city, constant fear of this store shutting down, that store shutting down. And what happens then is you've got teachers that are scrambling to get in another place to teach, and the competition not being out there because the store is closing. So then you're stuck to, okay, I can just go old school and advertise on my own. I did that in the early days. Didn't really need to, because once you get into a music store, there's your base. People come in and they're, buying guitars and amps and packages and handing in, hey, you want some guitar lessons? We got teachers. I was teaching with a great guitar player, man. You may, because I know you're a Southern California guy, but a guitar teacher named Howard Hart, and he taught out of Lear's Music back in the 80s. I used to go do my shop in there. But just like, come on in, man. There's so many students, I can't even, we've got 2 other teachers. We can't even take them on. Come on in. So I seen the really good side of it, and then I seen the decline of it, with the recession. But primarily, I think the internet, because it's just people are shopping for the cheapest. They're getting free lessons on the internet, going onto YouTube. So that's the route that I went. My old drummer, Todd, he's a CEO of PatioShoppers.com. He turned me on to doing this, the teaching online, put up the free lessons, open up a website. You built a fan base, and, hopefully they like you, of course, and then there's your website. So
yeah,
he said most people do not take my advice on it. Here I'm looking at him, self-made millionaire. He's my friend, so he had no motive, he was trying to help out me. So I was starting to panic. So I had to basically, brother, get with the times. I started doing my first few lessons. It's weird, dude, because I'm a kickback person. I'm comfortable with the teaching, but still there was that element of like, now I'm doing it online. This isn't just in the city. This isn't just for my student. This is in the city, the state, and all the states across the United States and across the world, So it's like kind of surreal. But the niche for me was I'm comfortable. For me, just talking in front of camera. I think if I had a big group of people, and had to talk and be a speaker, that stuff makes me nervous, but I'm comfortable, I'm confident with teaching, I love teaching, I'm getting to teach a lot of the stuff that inspired me to play, and my mindset, and I know I don't get everything right, you even got me, like, you almost had this, I forget what STRYPER song was, when I saw you Let It Rock out in Corona, but no, I love it, I love that you said that, because it keeps me on my toes, for one, but you as a guitar player, and you're obviously an awesome guitar player, but that doesn't need to be said. But there's different ways you can play things and still have it sound pretty much accurate. I try to go above and beyond that, and what I do is I won't go to other people's tutorials. I'll actually go to the concert and look for hand placement and see where these guys are playing it. I just did a lesson on The Rock That Makes Me Roll, and I was watching you and Mike, and is it safe to assume that you guys, that song has some overdub guitars in it. There's some stuff in the back that I heard. It's like really cool that I don't think the average ear even hears.
Right.
But you change things up. I mean, you've toured the world, so I mean, you don't always play something in the same spot every time you're playing it, right?
Not all. I mean, for the most part, yes. Okay, but
right.
not always. I've recently, in the recent years, moved away from doing always the same thing on some songs.
Right.
But a lot of the reason why that happened is because in the more recent years, I've been kind of improvising solos,
Sure.
and instead of structuring solos. So when I go to play it live, I can't remember what I played, and so
Right.
then I just kind of jammed through kind of the vibe I did.
Exactly.
But that's what a lot of guys did back in the old days, So, but
Yeah, it's important too, though, Oz, because being in a touring band and stuff, you got to find little ways to keep things fresh. I mean, even Alex Lifeson, man, the master, he changes the way he plays certain Rush riffs. It's not that you're changing the song, but just changing maybe how you play it or to bring a little new life in it. You're playing these shows night after night. It's nice to be able to, you know the songs with your eyes shut. So I mean, if you want to change up something, like The Rock That Makes Me Roll. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, because I was watching, where can I play part of it?
Yeah, play it, please. By all means.
Just did it, see if I can remember it. Little thing I noticed, it looked like live Mike was doing a straight double hammer triplet. Or no, in studio, because you could hear pick, hammer, hammer, and then live it looked like he just changed and played a couple notes on the next string down instead of playing it up top. Those are things that the average ear is not going to hear. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then really cool, this thing, you and Mike and STRYPER's always been great about this. If you got two guitar players, that's why Maiden was so good at it. You're not always, it's kind of pointless to just play the same part, both of you guys. Sure, it'll make it fatter, but when you're booming out of a big system and it's Mike, it's going to be fat anyways. So you're doing like chord inversions and stuff. It looked like on one of them you were up here, and I couldn't quite see because the camera changed. You're like, you know what I mean? Like a Scorpions kind of sounding thing.
Yeah.
So
That's what we do.
Yeah, I don't know why I did it, but for the video, I thought I'm just gonna try something. I kind of compromised and put yours and Mike's together and took like I built it, of course, but like the third time through, instead of just going, I did which was all kind of like emulating what you were doing up here with some of Mike's notes in it.
Right. I'm actually playing a 5 chord up there. That's not. It's not like
the straight power chord.
Yeah.
It's
That's what I'm playing right there.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I love, there's not a lot that excites me in life, but picking apart guitar stuff like that, just man, I love it, dude, and I love, hearing all the notes intertwined. I mean, to the point where sometimes I mix up harmony with melody because I'm always harmonizing with stuff constantly.
Oh man, you're like an analyst. You analyze exactly what's supposed to happen, and you kind of try to emulate the best you can, and obviously it works because I go to your website to learn stuff too. So.
Well, dude, I mean, that's another thing I wanted to tell you.
Okay, we'll stop right there. This will be part 1, and then part 2's coming up. Thanks, guys.